So I'll start very briefly, just introducing who we are and what we do, and then we'll jump over to Laura's session. So I've been very privileged in the past year and a half to build and facilitate the Learning Table community, which is really a networking and learning community for L&D, HR, talent development, people professionals from all over the world. We have wonderful hubs like New York City and others in Europe, in the US, and many more. So part of what we do is the community hubs sessions across the world. We also do a lot of online webinars and workshops just like this, in addition to some exclusive events and programs to kind of like create professional matchmaking to support people in whatever they need. So once you're here, you're basically part of this community if you choose to. So you can always be part of everything we do and hopefully more. And this is all organized by Juno Journey. I think some of you can already pitch about Juno better than me, even though you've never used it. But I will, in a few words, say some words about what we do. So basically, we all know this. We're here to talk about it. The world is changing, and there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, and a lot of changes that need to happen, right? And in that madness, everyone turns to us, to HRs, to L&D leaders, to really lead the organization through this shift. And with all the change management and upskilling and all the different processes that really need to happen. But if you are in HR and L&D, which I think you guys are, everyone wants a piece of you, right? Everyone needs just one more thing from you. Just do this and we deliver instead of really focusing on what matters now more than ever. Truth is, most professionals spend far more time on operations than actual strategic impact. And that's our main focus at Juno Journey. So we're proud to serve hundreds of leading companies through our two core solutions, our Agent First LMS and our goal-driven development platform, designed to turn business needs into skills. And we do that with a team of L&D agents, giving professionals the space to focus on strategy and impact while we take care of the heavy operational lift for you. So our team builds courses and training programs. They check knowledge for you. They unlock hidden expertise, and they connect employees' goals to professional development plans. Yeah. So less than a minute video, 40 seconds video to kind of show you a glimpse into our agents. So this is Jaden. Jaden has basically a few sub agents who are all specializing in different subjects like compliance, onboarding, enablement. Their job is to turn every knowledge owner into a professional trainer, taking instructions and content, turning them into beautiful training, editing trainings, editing videos, creating images, checking understanding, and automating everything in a click of a button. And all of that, of course, with the context of the organization. And this is cool, right? Okay. And thank you, Jaden. You see less than 40 seconds, or exactly 40 seconds. Perfect. No, I don't want you to do that again. Let me try to do next here. Okay. And the last, very last, again, 40-second video is Gemma. So when the world is changing fast, and so are the required skills, knowledge, and tools that our employees really need to master in order to perform in a way that takes your company forward. So based on the company's business goals and her personal knowledge of each employee's role, skills, experience, and goals, Gemma takes any professional goal and turns it into a step-by-step actionable development plan with both action items and content to support any skill gaps. She also finds the best experts in the company to mentor their journey to success. So that was just a short glimpse into what we do and how we do it. I thank you for the time listening to me. And now it's time to listen to Laura. Yay. The amazing Laura, used to be part of our New York City hub, moved to Canada. Oh, Canada. She's currently an independent consultant and facilitator. She's really focusing on helping leaders to really adapt, lead with confidence in this AI-driven workspace, She's really the master of AI. I didn't even need to know her. Like I heard about her even from other angles. I don't know if I told you. So you really know your workaround. And she came up with this idea of doing this session, and it really corresponded with everything that the community raised. So I'm going to give the stage to you, Laura, with a big thank you. We will share the recording after and the presentation and any other materials. I do invite you guys throughout this session in the chat. You can share your LinkedIn profile with each other so you can stay connected. And in addition, ask anything, use the QA, use the raise hand. It's a webinar format, so you don't really see each other, but it's not about Laura talking, you're listening only. It's really about, asking questions, offering each other's insights. It's family, okay? So feel free to use the chat and the QA for anything you need. And stage is yours, Laura.
Cleo, thank you so much, and everyone, welcome to this session. I just want to give a shout out to Cleo, who is, if you've not had the pleasure of meeting her yet in person, she is so amazing. It's incredible what she's been able to build for Juno in just a very, very short amount of time. This thriving community. I really miss coming to the events. If you are in a place where you have the opportunity to go, please, please attend. You'll meet amazing people, many of whom I'm so happy. It's nice to see familiar names and faces. Shout out Sally. And there was another name I saw, I
Jason
think
is also coming.
Joaquin and Jason. So
Indeed.
good to see you. And I know I had a message from Brianna. She couldn't make it, but she's thinking of us. And yeah, amazing stuff. And it's exciting to see the highlights that you shared with Jaden and Gemma, because they're gonna come into play. So let's go into it. I'm going to share my slides. And as Cleo mentioned, this is going to be very interactive. During the first half hour, though, I will keep the interaction mostly going through chat and reactions. If you can share, that will be fantastic. If you do have questions that come to mind during the first part, if you could just plop them in the chat so you don't lose track of them, and then we're going to have plenty of time to really even hopefully, right, Cleo, we can come off mic and we can make this a very lively discussion.
100%. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so without further ado, get my action here. If you have ever secretly thought that you're behind when it comes to, could be work, could be AI more specifically, you are not alone. Uh, and the good news, though, is that I firmly believe that you are already better equipped than you realize to navigate the challenges ahead. And if not, hopefully by the end of this session, you are going to feel a lot more confident about your abilities to navigate what is ahead. So jumping right in, we're going to start with a concrete three-part AI-infused coaching framework that I call SOB that you can use to power up your development either for yourself or for your teams. And I'm just going to scooch this little zoomy thing out of my way. Fantastic. Next, in the second part, we're going to do we're going to workshop creation of a vision map that you can use to literally chart your course ahead so you know where you're going. And then that second half hour, we're going to have lots of time for Q&A and feedback and interaction, and there'll be some gifts for you and some surprises. It is my intention that you will walk away today with some real tools that you can use starting immediately for yourself or for your team. And you will also leave with a confident direction about where you're going. So, sound good? Yeah, I see some reactions. Thank you. Before we jump into the framework, just a little kind of temperature check, make sure that we're kind of on the same page. Khalil had mentioned some of the challenges, current obstacles that we're all facing. I've also pulled out a couple, and I would love to see if you want to plop into the chat, either responding with just a number as I'll read through them with some verbiage, or just a thumbs up if these are anything I say is resonating, or a number one that particularly resonates. So Confidence gap, the sense that many of us are facing kind of an imposter syndrome, like you feel like you're supposed to be guiding your teams through this AI revolution thing, but privately you might feel like you don't have the skills or the confidence or mastery to do so effectively. That can be very scary. Number two, tools versus talent anxiety. There is a real fear right now around job losses. We're seeing the headlines. Your companies, your teams are feeling that some of this have been impacted personally, and I feel for you. There is a sense also that as leaders, many of the industry leaders are talking about AI, there's a feeling their focus is shifted entirely towards productivity hacks and doing things faster and replacing humans and away from what we do, which is professional development, doing things better, adding more value, investing in people. And as a result, we're noticing that critical thinking is suffering, right? Number three, strategy without a map. A lot of us feel like we're kind of using AI, maybe reactively, maybe experimentally, but we're not always, are a lot of us in our organizations, we don't necessarily feel that we're leading with strategic intention and with an intentional scaling. With the foundational mindset hasn't just happened. This reminds me of something I heard about digital transformations, right? So those of us who were around when companies were going through digital transformations, a real digital transformation doesn't mean that you just like make everything electronic. It means that you take advantage of the newfound mine of electronic data. And I think there's evidence that's not happening. Poor hype fatigue. Audience is exhausted. There's all these AI influencers talking, promising, hype, all that it could deliver, all that it can't deliver. And finally, lack of an honest pause, meaning are people really taking the time to stop and ask, what exactly are we doing with this AI thing? What is the value? And I just want to take a quick peek at the chat to see. All right, thank you, Melinda, 4 and 5. All right, anyone else? You want to pick one? Yeah, Amy, thank you. Confidence. Anyone, you could just throw in the number or like Amy did, that's really nice add-on comment or just thumbs up if any one of these resonates. Nice. All right. Well, we won't necessarily cover all of these in 1 hour, but I hope we'll start to chip away a little bit at each and every one. And um, oh, fear 3 strategy without. Oh, good. That one is definitely one we are going to cover, and in less time than you could think possible. All right. So speaking of time, let's cruise on in. The reason that AI matters here today, it's not about speed, it's not about the novelty, it's that learning itself has become a leadership bottleneck. And we as learning professionals, as HR leaders, this is where we can make the most headway. So let's dive right into our 1, 2, 3 3-point framework. I'm going to share a flexible, simple 3-point system for building knowledge and accelerating change for yourself or for your teams. I am, as Cleo mentioned, an independent contractor now, so I can be a little cheeky with my acronyms. You might not get away with this in a corporate environment, but as many of you might know, something fun about the way our human memory works is that we're much more likely to remember things that are unusual, funny, sexy, or a little bit gross. Okay, so if you didn't know that already, now you have learned it. And so this SOB acronym was intentional, that it should stick and you should remember it. And if English is not your first language, then salute, I salute you, and I invite you to Google this term later. Let's get diving. So S in SOBS stands for surface. Surface sentiment in order to reveal surprise. Surprise. And so what does that mean? It means you could use traditional sources like surveys, but we all know how helpful and reliable and expensive, frankly, those are to conduct. I know in my former role, there were some fabulous people in the team developing surveys, and there just wasn't great trust there. But now the good news is with AI, you can do even better essentially for free by mining existing unstructured data sources that previously would have been really difficult to analyze. So for example, you can grab Slack messages, Jira comments, even your own notes and observations. I'm going to give you, oh, the good news too, the data can be really, you could, I like to say, don't be shy with AI. The data can be completely sloppy. It can be in any format. It could be a screenshot. It could be a big old mess, and you can still get some amazing results. I'm going to give you some more specific examples in a moment, but first let's take a quick little detour into AI world. And tell me if you could please in the chat, or you could write it down if you're feeling shy or can't get your fingers to the keyboard right now, that's fine. How would you caption this image? And there's no wrong answers here, just like first thing that comes to your brain. How would you caption this guy? Ruth. Ooh, okay. I don't know if Melinda was replying to something earlier. I said, "Who am I?" Ooh, like that. Jason, you guys you're getting very deep. Either you're not like sharing really the first thing that comes to mind, or just you're getting deep. Beautiful. Either way, totally beautiful. And no wrong answers. And how about these folks here? How would you label each one of these? These, by the way, these are AI generated images, pretty darn good. I think I was using DALL-E and ChatGPT. Don't remember now. And some of the prompts I used are appearing, but what does that mean? Question is, are these biased? If I say doctor, well, okay, there's a stethoscope, so it's clear, but is AI biased? Is AI biased? Where to buy this t-shirt? Yeah. Um, AI land. I guess we could create one. I love it. And the bottom line is that yes, absolutely 100,000% AI is biased. It is trained on specific sets of data. It is going to know a lot more. For example, it knows a lot about coding. It knows a lot about things that are associated with the Western world. It's not as good at unlocking secrets of, I don't know, Swahili or things that it hasn't been trained on as much. But guess what? You know who else is biased and has two thumbs? That's right. And you know who else is? You probably, because you are, of course, you are. I am. We all are, because we are human. That is part of what is our biology, our neuroscience. We are biased. The good news is that AI can help us bust our biases. It can help us it can help us break through the biases to give fresh perspectives. And that's fantastic news, because there is nothing more valuable to speeding, streamlining, accelerating your learning than solid, constructive, unbiased feedback. Say that again. Feedback is valuable to learning quickly. It's normally very hard to get honest feedback. Maybe you're blessed with a really good manager or great peers or partners and work in a culture with honest feedback. It's rare. I've worked in some amazing places with some fantastic colleagues, and it can take a long time before you get even one little nugget of feedback. With AI, you can get it literally all day long, all the time. You can use it to uncover, surface your own biases and blind spots, which is exactly what we're trying to do with this S with Surface. So let's get back to that. And I promised some specific examples. Here are some specific examples for surfacing. Some prompts you can try. Yes, people are responding. Yes, absolutely. AI is biased. There's a lot of noise about that. It doesn't mean we shouldn't use it. It means we should use it wisely. And here are some great ways to use it. You can ask it questions like, what am I missing? What themes are implied? What is lying under the surface? There's some surface things people are saying. What are they really saying? That's kind of amazing. You could do that too with a job description, right? What do they what do they say they want? What do they really want? What is this data telling me? And I will offer a little vulnerable moment. Here's another specific example. Yesterday, I tried this. I've set a personal goal this year to post very regularly on LinkedIn to share valuable learning about AI in order to create value and to build my brand. And about a month in, starting with January, I wanted to understand why some posts perform much better than others. So I dumped my analytics in whatever form I could grab them from LinkedIn, plopped them into ChatGPT, and I got some rather bracing feedback. So this, when I read this, I was like, oh, ouch, chat, but thank you, ouch, and thank you. Yes, thank you, ChatGPT. A little harsh, but useful. And then I could take this and work to develop a plan forward. That's coming next. So um, recapping the S, because we're gonna cruise on. S for surface, sentiment, surprise. I mentioned this framework is flexible, so you can pick whichever S or another one that sticks for you. I like surface, but it's also related to sentiment and surprise. And that we will move on from S to the O. And O. Once you have surfaced sentiment, you might need to organize, order, and prioritize, right? So I gave you a little snippet of what ChatGPT shared with me on my LinkedIn analytics, but it was really like a lot. And I was like, okay. After that, I said, we got to break this down. Give me a one-page operating guide I can use on a weekly basis to make sense of this. And if you're like me, can I get a thumbs up, a little reaction, a something there if you are someone who gets drawn to many shiny objects and interests? Do we have those little, I guess there's like hand raising, the things that fly up, or you could put in the chat. We'll end up, yeah, that's often me, 100%. Yeah. I mean, clearly you are all very smart professionals with multi-talents, and so there is something good about that. But in order to get things done, a consistent feedback that I have had shared with me is you gotta to get something done, you have to get one thing done. I have this year my planner being, as Cleo said, I'm in Montreal, so it's in French. It says tout est possible. Everything is possible. And yet I have to, when I look at it, I use each day and the slots of hours to remind myself that while everything is possible, you can't actually do everything. You have to pick what fits. All right, so ChatGPT. Oh, and by the way, when I say ChatGPT, really everything I'm mentioning here is tool agnostic. I encourage you to play around with. I've tried all these things, Copilot, Gemini, Claude, they all work equally well. If you're limited by something that you're using at work, use that. And also, guess what? Juno Journey can be amazing, amazing to help you do this. So you could take the
Laura, before
results
we
that you've
continue,
surfaced. Mhm.
Laura, I just see Mark raised his hand, so I'm gonna allow him to
Oh,
talk maybe as a question. Mark, you can
okay.
unmute yourself.
Oh, no, I was looking for a thing. I was responding to the squirrel, to
Okay.
the distraction thing, and I couldn't find the one that all the hands would come up. So my apologies.
Okay, no problem
No
at all. Okay,
problem.
go ahead, Laura.
No problem. Thanks. And if questions come up during too, and you can plop them in the chat. Thanks. So speaking of being distracted and coming back to the one thing, the O, order, organize one thing. I love this phrase. I actually generated a list of options. I don't like the term backlog because it sounds kind of like, I don't know, muddy water and like it's going to be always hanging over your head and a drag. So some other options, and one other I love is creative reserve. You can leave other things in the creative reserve. And meanwhile, you can choose. Now, this is also kind of an area that you have of expertise. Some people like to really strengthen their strengths, lean into those. You might want to focus on overcoming your weaknesses. Either way, you've got to narrow it down. And I want to share a book that has helped me focus. So this is like a non-AI bit of learning, but it's this book called The One Thing by Gary Keller with Jay Papasan. And the key takeaway, or what I kind of took away, how can one explore blind spots using AI? Ophir, we will come back to some more examples, but as a first spot, you can just ask it literally, what am I missing, right? So taking some notes, feedback, and I will show, that'll be a little surprise gift at the end. I'll show you a specific example. Um, right here, the one thing, at any one moment, you can only focus on one thing. And there's a lot to be gained by constantly asking yourself, what is the one thing that if I did it, it would make everything else go away or be irrelevant? That's kind of there. You could save your time and money on the book, although it's a good quick read. I do recommend it. And now, not to be too gross, but as a discipline, whenever I go to the toilet, I'm thinking like, oh, it's a fact that in this moment, my number one priority is to, take care of biological business. That's your number one focus. So I use that fact as a daily reminder to check in with myself. Am I focusing on my highest priorities right now when I go back to my desk? And some examples of prompts that you could use, and I do variations of these all the time. You could ask literally, what should I prioritize and why? If I could only work on one challenge, what should I focus on? And if you're not sure even how to ask that, you could ask for help, right? You can ask AI to help you. Ask me questions to help me prioritize. And you could even lean on ChatGPT. The AI is well aware. They've read that book that I recommended. They've read it and they've read everything on the internet. So you could even say specifically, guide me using the one thing philosophy or methodology. Is anyone here using AI tools on a regular basis to help them prioritize? I literally use it every morning. I like it helps me with my overload. I'm like, here's my to-do list. Help me, just focus and prioritize. I know there's a little moment, not tried that yet. Okay, so maybe we'll try pretty much use it to organize everything. Fantastic. I bet we can in the share too. I'm eager to learn some. I always love learning how people are using it. Always get some great new ideas. So we've seen surface, that's the S. We've seen order, that's the one thing. And let's bust on to the last one. Hopefully you are still here. B for building skills, or it could be for bridging gaps or breaking habits. You choose. Again, I said this is a flexible framework. Make it what you want. This is your area of expertise, really, this sort of development. So you can take with this what you want. And this is also an area, Khalil, I'm sure Juno Journey really shines in this space. And hopefully, I'm sharing, I hope I'm communicating some of my excitement. But if I really had to like sum up all my biggest excitement about the potential, the capacity of AI, it is that there has literally never been in the history of humanity, there has never been a better time to be alive and learn. To be alive and learn. The internet plus AI just democratizes education and access to skill building in a way that just did not exist before. Using AI, you can ask for approaches that meet you where you are, match your learning style, fit your organizational culture. We saw even in that quick demo, Juno Journey can help you do that. And I want to quote one of my personal heroes, Sal Khan, founder of Khan Academy. I'm paraphrasing him here, but he said, I think he's perhaps the greatest educator of our generation. He said, AI can help you quickly fill in the holes in the Swiss cheese of your knowledge. Fill in the holes in the Swiss cheese of your knowledge. What does that mean? Well, it is really, really resonant, not only for students. This is something he noticed with his very first student, who was his cousin, who was very bright, very good at math, but there was something along the way somehow she had missed, and he worked with her to fill in those gaps. But now he realizes with AI we can scale this. As professionals, we've each developed a kind of mishmash of expertise based on projects we worked on, teams we've been with. Just it's kind of random, though. The farther you go in your career, the more random it is in a way. And it's very different from when you're in school and you have 101 and 102, and there's a progression. You might be really, really strong. And I had this, the engineers that I worked with at Two Sigma, for example, they were crack, top-notch developers and knew nothing about finance, right? And we had to kind of up their game there. AI can be a powerful way to help you both identify and bridge the gap. So B is bridge. Some prompts to try in this space. And I just see in the chat, I will answer this right now. Ophir, can you ask AI to do follow-up on your decisions, priorities, actually ask you at certain times? You can. I've mostly tried that with other ones may handle it differently, and it'd be fun to ask. We can ask, can find out from Cleel what Juno Journey does there. But I know that with ChatGPT, it can link to your email account, certainly with Gmail, and send you check-in reminders. You can also kind of, you can tell it in project instructions, make me accountable. So each day when I check in, also ask me what happened yesterday, ask me how I'm doing. Or put on my calendar a monthly check-in, a weekly check-in, a quarterly check-in to keep me on track. Absolutely. And you can help it build schedules. In fact, there's one of the example prompts. Give me a 30-day plan with short videos, if I like videos, to improve this skill. Give me 5 ways I can use AI to prep for a difficult conversation. And spoiler alert there, a fantastic tool to use is voice mode. I could even share what I did a run through of this so we could see. And it would be telling me now that I'm taking a little too long on this slide. So help me identify what I don't know. Help me identify. So again, identify my gaps for me. Maybe you can generate, I've done this with my son, create a little assessment to see where he needs to focus for his upcoming chemistry exam, right? Help me build a feedback habit. Say, this is something that I want to learn. So you could ask it to use frameworks that you're familiar with or that have worked for you in the past, like Atomic Habits. Help me take this big thing and break it down into a very manageable habit. All of these are creative ways that you can use AI to succeed. And a recap of the methodology, and we're going to move on to the exercise in a moment. Coaching methodology that you can use on yourself and your team. 3 parts. S for surface, sentiment, surprise. O, order the results, narrow your focus. B, build skills, bridge gaps. You can do this all in one project. You could do it in interested in, yeah, we could do a demo of voice prompts. It's actually really fun. We will get to a demo, but now a little something different. So that's the summary of that. Do we have time? Okay, I do. This is valuable though. We're going to take 4 minutes. This is going to be 4 quick minutes to do something amazing and get your compass. So if you're in a place where it is safe and comfortable to do so, please stand up and close your eyes if you are able. Again, if it's safe and not too weird to do so. And bring your feet underneath your hip points. Rock forward, rock back, rock left, rock right. And then find that grounded center and breathe. Notice that you have a core, a center that helps you focus and know where you are. Trust that and pick one word that represents your guiding energy as a leader, as a professional. You got that word? Cool. Now open your eyes and hopefully you're not so modern that you don't have a pen and paper handy. So I urge you to grab a pen and paper and very quickly, it can be messy, take up space. You're going to draw this shape. It's going to be a ball on top, triangle. Give you a moment. So again, be human here. There's also something about pencil or pen to paper takes us out of the fast thinking that we do when we're typing and into a slower thinking. But we will go quickly through this exercise. All right, you got the shape. It could be, again, could be messy. See, I messed mine up on top earlier. I was practicing. No worries. And then you're going to take that word that came to you, and if one didn't come to you, that's okay. That's going to go in that little ball right on top. You're the mantra. You're going to fill that. Oh, I don't have a pointer here. We go. Mantra. That's your one word. If you don't have one, I can offer you empathy, curiosity, courage, integrity. This is your kind of guiding light that you want to lead with. Number 2 in the triangle is for your why. Why does this word matter for your leadership right now? What is most critical to you? Why is it important? And if you're feeling rushed or you need a little more time to think about these, don't worry. You can email me later and I can send this to you. But I urge you to just try to do it in the 10-second version. Current state, that's the bottom square, the south quadrant. Where are you now? And without judgment, just observe. Are there fears? Could be you, your organization. Are there fears, uncertainty, pressure, maybe your own feelings of overwhelm, curiosity, skepticism? You could just jot loose things. And then we're going to move to number 4, future state. So directly under your why, this is your North Star. This is where you want to go. If AI implementation or the success of your organization more generally, or your personal career, or whatever it is you're focused on here, if AI implementation, or again, whatever, is successful in your culture or in your life, in your career, how will you know? What will it look like? And here too, offline, you might spend some more time, but just first thing that comes to mind, I put in there, I will help people thrive. And finally, or almost finally, number 5 and 6 over on the east side of your shape here, your structure, supports. Write down 3 to 5 supports. These could be your experiences, these could be mentors, team resources that you have, tools, Juno Journey, AI specific tools, practices, things you want to try. And then O are obstacles. These are challenges that you're aware of. Time, culture, what could stand in your way of achieving your vision? Could be fears, and so on. Okay, and now truly, truly, finally, strategic actions. So these could potentially be, I like to align these. So there's a group of actions that align with addressing the obstacles, right? I could set boundaries to encourage my family to leave me alone when I need to work. Or I could, conduct sessions to address the fears of my employees. Actions that you want to take toward the future state. I want to conduct AI training for my teams. Supports. I'm going to make a regular check-in meeting with my mentor. I'm going to set time on my calendar to work with AI to help me improve, whatever it is. And now out of all these actions, circle one, just one, an action that you will take in the next 7 days. Okay, that was a lot. I'm sorry, it did take it was a little longer than I wanted, but I would love for you, if you, when we come on camera in a moment, hopefully hold it up and share. I'd love for you to take that vision map with you. You can share it with others. You can make it your own. You can personalize it. Maybe for you, it's kind of like this rocket ship taking you into new areas. Or maybe this was one of mine, or maybe it's literally like a map that guides you through rivers and valleys and obstacles, twists and turns. You can choose some imagery that resonates with you. And then if you want some prompts to try with this, you can take a photo of it. This is one of the most powerful things, by the way, getting things in and out of AI, right? You could just, it's handwritten, but just take that messy photo, plop it in, ask your favorite tool to transcribe it for you. Copilot weirdly works very well with transcription. You can use it to highlight strengths and weaknesses of your plan, communicate your vision to your team, maybe break it down into a year-long calendar, right? Whatever you like. And recapping again, coming back to our methodology, surface, sentiment, and surprise. Oh, choose your first one thing to work on and build. And I'll leave you with my mantra, don't be shy with AI. Know that you are not behind. You know the direction now. Don't worry if it felt a little rushed. pick one thing, just one thing you're going to try this week. And I will now turn it completely over to you. And
So we don't have a
I'll leave
lot of
this.
time, but we do have some
Yeah,
questions that people wanted to
sorry,
share. So I'm
sound
going to
came on the way.
start. That's
Great.
okay. I'm going to start with Sally. So Sally, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Sally.
Good to see you both, and thank you, Laura, for what you've presented already. You too,
Lovely
Cleo.
to see you. I
Thank
love what
you.
you've been sharing on LinkedIn, Sally.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. So I was so excited to see not only that you were presenting, but you were presenting on this. I love this topic of AI, particularly within the people space. My question for you, because I've already experienced a little bit of this, particularly when I'm coming up with ideas for reducing bias for internal mobility, promotions. I have these suggestions to utilize LLMs and other things of that sort to build out really robust, less biased assessments of how people are progressing, as well as what their goals are. And understandably, some people will be like, well, I don't know how comfortable I feel putting one-on-one documents into an LLM. I don't know how comfortable I feel putting someone's annual review or biannual review into AI, right? But it does have this power you already voiced of helping managers to make less biased decisions on who's excelling,
Yeah.
who's not, and what it is that they could have access to. So I gave you that tangible example just to sort of give you an idea of the sorts of things I've been trialing. The question is, how have you navigated internal pushback like that around the sensitivity of using employee data to influence AI resourcing associated with learning or advancement?
It's a great question. And I'm going to start by saying that it comes down to a mindset shift. And I think this exercise is why I took the little detour into bias, because I think it is so important. It's one facet of a frame that we can use over and over again with AI. AI is fundamentally different, behaves fundamentally differently than the way computers for most of our lives have behaved. Until now, you put something in, you get something out. If what you get out is wrong, it's because there's a bug. AI is not deterministic, and that is scary, right? You can hallucinate, but it's also what makes it potentially, in my view, even more amazing and powerful. But let me get back to, I got a little off track. Bias, right. So the thing is, I think it helps to ask people, not is it perfect? Is it flawless? But is it as good or better than a human? So once we can admit and recognize that we have bias in our own selves and systems, I think it helps us be a little bit more accepting and patient, right? And we can still use judgment. Now, in terms of privacy, I think we're seeing something very scary that just came out with Moltbot and Claudebot, but the bottom line seems to be that people, it's behind the bad stuff that was happening, it was people. And AI, like the simple example of a knife that can be used for murder or can be used in surgery, AI could be used for good or bad, and it's really the intent of the people. So I would challenge those organizations to say, well, we're trying to do something better. We're mindful of the dangers and pitfalls that could occur here. That's one thing. So having the right human intent will help steer towards better AI results. Again, it's about that human intention. And in terms of practicality, I would lean on and trust your IT department in terms of security and safety about personal data. But I would say that a lot of times when people are shocked at what AI seems to know, in my experience, it's not really been the AI. It's been that there were crappy security things in place beforehand, and now they're just coming out more readily with AI. So for example, if your organization uses SharePoint, everyone knows how challenging those permission structures are to manage. and if there's a weakness there, it will come out. Or something that seems innocent, like asking, what are people's salary in the organization? That information, you might really hide it very carefully and protect it, which, by the way, is becoming, thank God, illegal in many states. But let's say you're still in a place where that's protected. The fact is, even without literally knowing what does Laura make, AI has enough other data that it can infer intelligently. So again, I think these are, not sure if I've really answered your question, but these are tools you can use to start chip away and start migrating the mindset. And then another thing I would say is you could do a little modified pilot and see what happens and have sense to pull the plug if you're getting terrible results like Amazon did it. It tried some AI to evaluate candidates and it found that its system, its LLM was just like booting all the women out. Um, yeah, for real. You can look it up. But they,
Crazy.
they pulled it. So thank you, Sally. Obviously, could talk
Thank
about
you.
that a lot more. Let's move
Of course.
on.
Yeah, I will say, Laura, though, something that you said that I want to double click on that I think was
Mhm.
particularly helpful is you mentioned having a conversation with folks around what it is they're concerned about. It's incredible that AI is smart enough that if you literally made a list of like, these are all the things we want to make sure it does do and doesn't do, you can make those the regulations of the LLM, right? So even just by like voicing it, it can help to bring it to truth.
Bingo. And you know what else? I didn't even think of this till you mentioned it, but another way, I could drink my own champagne on this, right? So I could literally say, hey, AI, I'm going to go have a conversation with leadership. Here are the things they've told me they're concerned about. And now I can
Mhm.
use that S. What are their unspoken concerns, right?
Totally.
Because chances are their unspoken concerns are also they're afraid they're going to be irrelevant. They're afraid they're going to be sued. They're going to be, whatever it is. And I can ask it to be creative. It may come up with things that I have not thought of. And then I can say, all right, give me data backed resources to help me answer those concerns. And then this might be a good opportunity. Someone had asked for okay, I'll take me a minute to turn my phone back on and I will demo voice mode. But let's take another question or see.
I think we have maybe time for a last one.
Okay.
Jason mentioned he'll be happy to share his. So Jason, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Did I? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Laura. Great information. And I think this is kind of related to the last question just a bit because it's about trust. And now I want to start prompting Perplexity to see what it says for this. But a lot of leaders are concerned when they hear AI coaching, they start thinking, oh, wait, this is going to replace our person-to-person coaching. And even with well, no, we're not talking about removing the human from the loop. Let AI do what it's good at, and let humans, in terms of getting that connection, do what they're good at.
Mhm.
Uh, Even that doesn't necessarily make people feel better, especially with not just as was previously alluded to, the lack of feeling of losing privacy, but also all the horror stories of AI getting it wrong sometimes, and of course humans get it wrong sometimes as well. So, what suggestions do you have to help bring that to help uh, more normalize the AI coach?
Yeah, great question, Jason. I have such strong feelings about this. I think it again comes to comparing, is it as good as a human? And so I know that like, there have been sensational stories that AI is leading people to suicide, and that's tragic. It needs to be explored, absolutely. By the way, if you test ChatGPT, it'll immediately tell you, go talk to a human. Here are the resources in your
Yeah.
area. Call someone, get to someone right now. So they have made some fixes, but I would also, I tried to do some research on this in Perplexity. There are no concrete confirmed affirmed cases, so there's like a couple of things that are scary that have been blown out of the media. Lots of, sadly, right, tragically, even under the care of superb human therapists, there are
Of course.
people who, right, and I like to say, look, there are some horrible things that human therapists have done that AI can never do, and we don't need to go there. um but your question about trust and what can it do, I think testing it. So this AI generated image, my doctor, last time I saw him, he said, next time you come, AI will be listening to our conversation and it'll be taking notes. And he made the really, really astute observation. He was very excited about it. He's been excited about technology for a long time. It's going to enable him to spend more quality time with patients, not less. It's going to outsource the note taking. If you've ever been with a doctor who's not even looking at you, they're just typing or writing notes. So I think testing assumptions is where I would go with that one, Jason.
Excellent. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. I did see that Amy wrote a question here. Does AI recognize its own bias? Do you know by any chance, Laura?
You definitely can ask it, right? You could say like, oh, that seems to be a bit biased. And often it's it's unshy about saying, oh gosh, you're right. The other thing that's really fun to
It
try is
usually says you're right.
yeah,
Usually.
it's true. It's also fun to do AI on AI and see how one thing, biased or not, I will say it doesn't have an ego, right? So you can do whatever it is your work you're doing in, make a plan, right? And use ChatGPT. Then take it,
Okay.
dump it into Claude and say, evaluate this plan. And it might tell you, wow, this plan is really good in these places, and here's where I would improve it. So it's not like going to say, well, that's ChatGPT. It's crap. This is amazing if you think about it, because as humans, we are biased again. And if we know that the plan came from Susie, who we can't stand, versus Jim, who we respect, we will treat it differently. We will. And that's not necessarily great. So it does a great job at that. Let's see. If we have 1 second, I would love to show voice mode because it's amazing.
Yeah, we actually have like 4 minutes, so now is our time.
Okay, now's the time. All right.
Yeah.
So I ended up talking some more, but I did read through my deck with ChatGPT listening, and it told me, honestly, you did a lot well, but if I'm being direct, one area might be blah, blah, practical exercise a bit tighter, so it's not rushed. Well, that ended up being true. More vocal tone. Hopefully I did add that. So let's see. I'm going to go into voice mode, which you tap the little thing, looks like a microphone. Hey, ChatGPT voice mode. Let's see if people can hear you. I'm preparing for a tough conversation with leadership. I'm an HR leader, and they're concerned about safety and privacy. Can we do a role play preparing for that conversation?
I'd love to help. Let's imagine I'm one of the leaders. You can start by sharing how you're approaching safety and privacy. Then I'll respond with concerns, and we can refine your approach as we go. Ready to give it a shot?
Yes. I am only going to be using publicly available data and data that is accessible to all the managers of level X in my team.
I hear that you're focusing on accessible data. My concern is, how do we ensure that even publicly available data is being handled in line with our internal policies and that no inadvertent data sharing happens?
So that's a really good question, and I could use your help here. Can you recommend some strategies for me?
One strong strategy is to set clear guidelines on what public means in your context. Are there any limitations? Also, having quick internal reviews before sharing anything externally could help. Plus, make sure everyone knows the process.
That's very cool.
Maybe a refresher training on what's fair game and what's off limits. How do those sound?
Those sound good. Now be really difficult and harsh with me.
All right, I'll give you some tough pushback. Let's say I challenge, even if it's public, what if someone misuses it or it gets taken out of context? How can we trust that your team won't open us up to risks or blowback? Let me hear how you'd reassure me, firmly and calmly.
Okay, well, remember when we had that breach that involved a human? That was bad.
That was indeed tough, and it's important we acknowledge it. What's changed since then? If you show me how your processes have evolved, like how you'll flag risks early or get leadership buy-in before anything sensitive, you'll reassure even a tough skeptic like me. Let's practice that.
Okay, And scene. So I
Bravo.
love it. When you get stuck, you can ask it to come out of character. I did this once in a video and I asked it to be harsh, and it was like, I was literally feeling nervous, even though it was just a pretend role play.
Thank you so much,
And
Laura. We actually, I think in less than a minute, the webinar will shut down on us because it does that. So I do want to thank you so much for taking your time for giving this really interesting session to all of us. And I also want to tell everyone who are here, thank you for coming, and also thank you for being so active and sharing and connecting and asking. This is really cool to see. And as you can see, you're part of a community, even if you haven't seen their faces, who are all about the same things that you're about. So stay connected, reach out to each other. I'll send the contact details for Laura as well and everything she presented today. And I highly recommend to stay in touch with her. And we have more sessions coming up in the learning table. So please always stay in touch and join us for more and more AI and learning and development sessions. Thank you, everyone, so much. And if you're looking for someone specific here yet, you didn't have time to connect with, contact me, talk to me, whatever you need. I'm here for you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Laura.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the great interaction, everyone. And please do reach out. I'd love to hear more questions and send you some resources.
Amazing. Thank you. Bye, everyone. I agree. Fabulous, Laura.